falling for the thief who broke into my house. My house was broken into by a thief. He made himself right at home, showering, changing clothes, even claiming it was his house. The police had no choice but to call the landlord to recount the story. The landlord was utterly shocked, exclaiming, "Oh my goodness, has thievery reached this level now? It's bad enough to break into someone's house, eat, sleep, and shower, but to claim it's his own house too." It turned out the thief was on the phone, saying, "Mom, it's me. My boyfriend had cheated on me, so I went out to a bar with my friends for a few drinks. After cursing that scumbag 100 times, I finally headed home late, feeling a bit woozy. As I opened the door, I found the living room lights blazing and a pair of men's leather shoes by the entrance. I sobered up instantly, an alarm blaring in my head. There was a thief in my house, and a polite one at that, who knew to take off his shoes before breaking in. Though not that polite, I suppose. Not wanting to alert him, I quietly stepped back outside, grabbed my phone to call the police, then rushed downstairs to find security. The fully armed guards went up, and I cautiously followed behind them into the house. The moment I entered the living room, I saw a man with wet hair, bare-chested, wearing only brown underwear, stepping out of the bathroom. I immediately spun around. This guy was truly a pervert, breaking into someone's house to shower and not even bothering to put on clothes. "How did you get in here?" a cold voice behind me asked. It sounded strangely familiar. Immediately after, the security guard retorted, "You're trespassing in someone else's home, and you dare ask us how we got in. This is my house, aren't you the intruders?" he countered. Hearing that, I covered my eyes and turned back to confront him. "This is clearly my house, I just moved in." "Your house?" He sounded disbelieving, and I heard rustling as if he was putting on clothes. "I don't recall ever selling my house," I was about to say when the police officer quickly arrived. Hearing his voice, I was sure the thief had finished dressing. Only then did I dare to slowly lower my hands and open my eyes, but before me was a face that was strangely familiar. I wondered if the living room lights were too bright, making me dizzy, or if my drunkenness was causing hallucinations. How could I possibly run into Liam here? Wasn't he in Canada? While I was still stunned, the police officer asked for the details. I collected myself and recounted everything. The officer told me to call the landlord and put her on speaker. When I called, Mrs. Chen listened to the story and angrily exclaimed, "Thieves these days are truly perverted, breaking into someone's house and even showering." Liam suddenly spoke in a stern voice, "Mom." I looked up bewildered. "What, dear?" The voice on the other end seemed stunned for a few seconds before hesitantly asking, "Son? Oh, it's you. When did you get back? Why didn't you tell me?" Liam replied helplessly, "Mom, you rented out my apartment. Did you tell me?" On the other end, she laughed, completely unremorseful. "Sorry, son. I have so many properties and you haven't been back in so long, I completely forgot this was your place. Look, I just bought the apartment next door. Why don't you stay there temporarily? I've already rented this one to Chloe and the contract is signed. Bear with it for a bit, okay? The one next door is smaller, but for a single person like you, it's perfectly adequate." Liam seemed a bit helpless. I suddenly felt sorry for him and offered, "Mrs. Chen, how about I move into the apartment next door instead?" No, dear, you just stay here. If he doesn't like it, you two can just share. Clean up the storage room and let him stay there. My son is a good person. You don't need to worry about your safety. I can even waive your rent. What do you think?" Her voice was incredibly serious, not at all like she was joking. I even thought I might have misheard her. Liam immediately snatched the phone. "It's fine, Mom. Don't say another word. I'll move over." With that, he hung up. It turned out it was all just a misunderstanding. After the security and police left, only the two of us remained in the living room, with Liam's wide-open suitcase sitting in the middle. He squatted on the floor, packing his belongings. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. Usually, when you haven't seen a high school classmate in years, the first thing you'd say is, "Long time no see, right?" I was just about to speak when Liam suddenly stood up, not even glancing at me, and walked straight towards the exit. Fine then, it seems he doesn't remember me. After he left, I went into my bedroom. The room was as messy as it had been when I left that morning. I hadn't cleaned in days, with clothes scattered all over the floor and carpet, even underwear. Underwear? My eyes widened. He surely didn't go into the bedroom, did he? His luggage was still in the living room. Plus, it seemed he had showered in the guest bathroom. I hadn't used that bathroom since I moved in. I always used the one in my master bedroom. I rushed out to check the guest bathroom. The floor and walls were still wet. Breathing a sigh of relief, I returned to my bedroom to get clothes for a shower. The next day, work was so busy that I only had time to check my phone during lunch. My friend Ava sent a WeChat message. "Hey babe, I have a boyfriend." I was confused. How so fast? "Our company has a new director today." "Oh my god, he's so handsome, totally my type. It's probably just a one-sided crush though." I wasn't surprised and pressed on, "How handsome?" "Handsome enough to make me faint? Before I thought Ethan was pretty good looking, but now in my eyes he's just trash, totally repulsive." Hearing those two words, I knew he had cheated on her and even gave her a fake bag. I wanted to quit right then. Just looking at his face makes me sick. Ethan was the scumbag who had cheated on me. He worked at the same company as Ava. Earlier this year, when I returned to work, Ava and I had gone out to eat and coincidentally ran into him. From then on, he began to relentlessly pursue me. To get closer, he even moved into the same apartment complex. He pursued me for half a year, showering me with greetings morning, noon, and night, and constantly sending flowers and fruits. I rejected him many times, but he never gave up, acting as if I was the only one he wanted. Perhaps because of his persistence, I finally agreed to give dating a try. The result? After just 1 month, I was cheated on. Feeling unlucky living in the same complex as him, I immediately found a new place to move. After the breakup, my new house wasn't close to the company, but the public transport was convenient and the landlord was very nice. She was just a bit too enthusiastic. Knowing I was single, she was determined to introduce her son to me. I politely declined, saying I wasn't ready for a relationship, and she finally dropped it. But what I didn't expect was that her son was none other than Liam, my high school classmate, and the person I once had a secret crush on. And just like that, Liam and I became neighbors. We'd occasionally run into each other on our way to or from work, or sometimes at the nearby supermarket. That day after work, I stopped by the supermarket to stock up on groceries. At checkout, I ran into Liam again. Since he was my neighbor and the landlord's son, I intended to greet him, but the moment our eyes met, he quickly looked away, appearing indifferent. Well, fine then. It seems he doesn't want to acknowledge me. After paying, we both left the supermarket one after another. I walked behind him, carrying a large bag of groceries, slowly making my way home. Once we reached the apartment complex, while waiting for the elevator, Liam unexpectedly spoke. "Chloe, are you settling in well at the apartment?" Hearing that, I felt a slight hint of sarcasm. I smiled and replied, "Yes, I'm used to it now." Then, out of habit, I politely asked, "How about you?" "It's all right." I really shouldn't have asked anything further. Just then, the elevator arrived. As the doors opened, Mrs. Chen stepped out, smiling brightly. "Why are you two coming home together like this?" I stepped inside and explained. "Oh, Mrs. Chen, we just ran into each other at the supermarket next door." She nodded, then looked at Liam, scolding. "Son, why don't you have the courtesy to help Chloe carry her things?" I was about to say, "No, thank you," when my hands suddenly felt light. Someone had taken my bag. My fingertips seemed to retain a faint warmth. I slowly managed a thank you. Liam indifferently replied, then turned to ask his mother, "Why are you here, Mom?" "I came to visit Chloe, of course. Did you think I came to visit *you? I awkwardly said, "Thank you, Mrs. Chen." As we talked, the elevator reached our floor. Liam helped me carry my groceries all the way to my door before returning to his own apartment. Mrs. Chen pulled me back down, chatting for a bit before inviting me to dinner, saying her son was an excellent cook. I tried to refuse, but she insisted, and eventually I had no choice but to accept. On the dining table were 4 savory dishes and a fragrant soup. I hadn't expected Liam to know how to cook. Mrs. Chen continuously served me food, urging me to eat more. I thanked her gently. Liam, sitting opposite me, ate silently, every gesture as captivating as I remembered. Not wanting to just eat without contributing, I offered to wash the dishes after dinner, but Mrs. Chen stopped me, saying they had a dishwasher. She then washed some fruit and pulled me onto the sofa to chat. Liam glanced at us, then retreated to his room. After a few more minutes of chatting, she suddenly stood up and went to a room door, knocking. "Son, No response. She called out a few more times, but still no answer. Annoyed, she called out his full name. Liam, are you crocheting in there? Her call successfully transformed the scene into Liam being forced to listen to our conversation. But most of the time, she was the one talking. I realized she was trying to set Liam and me up, as she cleverly steered the conversation towards topics of love and boyfriends' girlfriends. I felt a bit awkward and worried that Liam might be uncomfortable, so I tried to deflect the conversation. Besides, it was getting late. Mrs. Chen, it's getting late, I should head home. Liam suddenly spoke, as if to see off a guest. Mrs. Chen glanced at her watch. Oh my, it's already 9 p.m., your dad must be home by now. She picked up her bag to leave, but before she went, she told Liam and me to add each other on WeChat, smiling and advising, as neighbors, you two should get along all right. Seeing her about to leave, I quickly stood up and followed her. Mrs. Chen, let me walk you out. I really didn't want to be left alone with him. A few days later, my company held a party. While everyone was drinking and chatting, I received a message from my friend Ava. I can't take it anymore. At the company party today, Ethan is practically glued to our director, flattering him in every way possible. He even deliberately put his arm around him, acting like they were best friends. It's laughably pathetic. The director didn't even pay him any mind. I never realized he was this kind of person before. He truly knows how to be fake. Just looking at his bootlicking today, if he were a girl, he would have already sold himself to get into the director's bed. I messaged back, who knows, maybe men can do that too. No way, our director is straight. And even if he wasn't, he wouldn't even spare a glance at someone like Ethan. The party ended and everyone began to trickle out. The hallway was crowded, bustling with noise. Amidst the din, I vaguely heard Ava's voice. I glanced over and sure enough it was her, along with my neighbor, Liam. Turns out he's the director Ava was gushing about. Liam saw me first, but only gave a quick glance before heading downstairs. Ava ran up, enthusiastically linking arms with me. Oh, you had a party here too? I nodded. Since we were going the same way home, we decided to share a ride. Before heading downstairs, she stopped at the restroom and told me to go down first to call a taxi. When I stepped out of the restaurant, I saw Liam still standing at the entrance, talking with a few other men. Not wanting to disturb him, I walked to the side to call a taxi on my phone. Just as I opened the ride-hailing app, a slurred, drunken voice suddenly sounded behind me. Don't pull me, I'm not drunk. I can still drink. Hearing that, I turned around and saw my unlucky ex-boyfriend, Ethan. Hey, you're here too. As soon as he saw me, he stumbled towards me, reaching out to hug me, muttering, You came to pick me up, right? The strong smell of alcohol hit me, and I barely had time to react. Just as Ethan was about to touch me, a strong force unexpectedly pulled me aside. My body lost balance, falling into a warm, firm embrace. Immediately after, a cold voice sounded above me. Zach, call a car for him. On the way home, Liam's assistant drove. Liam sat in the passenger seat while Ava and I were in the back. Earlier, he had politely asked if I wanted to ride with him. I was about to refuse, but Ava immediately accepted on my behalf. Now I sat there, feeling as if I was sitting on pins and needles. Ava nudged me, signaling me to look at my phone. Just went to the bathroom for a bit, and you've already managed to hug our director. I quickly messaged her back, briefly explaining what had just happened. She read it, then angrily blurted out a curse word. Just then, the car stopped at a red light. The two people in the front turned to look at us. Ava awkwardly laughed. Director, I wasn't swearing at you, I was swearing at that jerk. Liam slowly asked, which jerk? I don't know if Ava was just more talkative because of the alcohol, or if she intentionally wanted Liam to know Ethan's true colors, but she immediately recounted how he had cheated on me and given me a fake bag before I could even stop her. The story reaching Liam made me so embarrassed I didn't know where to put my face. I just wanted to jump out of the car right then and there. Back at the apartment complex, while waiting for the elevator, I noticed Liam occasionally glancing at me, as if he wanted to say something, then stopped. Inside the elevator, I stood silently to one side, then heard him click his tongue. Have you ever thought about donating these eyes to someone who needs them? Next time you look for a man, remember to open your eyes wide. At the very least, don't choose anyone worse than me. What do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying. Liam smirked, a faint smile playing on his lips. You hate me so much, yet you found someone even worse than me. Aren't you afraid I'll laugh at you? I retorted instinctively, when did I ever hate you? Liam stepped closer, leaning down to look me straight in the eye. You don't hate me. The sudden proximity made my heart pound wildly. My memory involuntarily drifted back to a night 6 years ago. 6 years ago, near the end of university, my friends and I were playing a game in the dorm. The loser was penalized to call and confess their feelings to the person they hated most. I could have chosen to drink to opt out, but I didn't. I hid from the group and went against the rules, making an international call to my secret high school crush. Because of the time difference, it was morning where he was. The phone rang for a long time before it was picked up. Hello? His deep, magnetic voice traveling through the phone line made my heart tremble slightly. I hadn't heard his voice in 4 years, yet my heart couldn't help but flutter. Under the watchful eyes of all my friends, I lowered my head, my face flushed, and softly said, I like you. As soon as I said it, my heart felt like it leaped to my throat. I was afraid he'd recognize me, and yet I was also afraid he wouldn't. But there was a long silence on the other end. In love, I had always been a coward. Saying those 4 words had used up all my courage. When my confession received no response, I forced a laugh to brush it off. Don't take it seriously, okay? I'm just playing a game with my friends. Perhaps worried I was embarrassed, my friend next to me also chimed in to explain. Handsome guy, don't misunderstand. We're playing a game, and the loser has to call and confess to the person they hate most. The phone was immediately hung up. I thought he must have been annoyed by the early morning disturbance, or perhaps he didn't even know it was me calling. But now, hearing him say that, did he recognize me from that night? But Liam and I weren't close in high school. We were just classmates. I had secretly copied his phone number from the class directory. Could he have recognized me by my voice? I took a few steps back, widening the distance between us. You misunderstood. Liam raised an eyebrow. Misunderstood what? I paused. Misunderstood what? How was I supposed to explain now? So many years had passed. Should I confess now that I used to like him in high school, and that because of a silly game, I seized the opportunity to express feelings I never dared to say out loud? That was clearly too absurd and ridiculous. Liam didn't like me. What good would telling him that do? It would only make him more self-satisfied. Besides, ever since that night I uttered those words of liking him, I had let go. After that, I tried to move on, attempting to accept other guys. Okay, actually, it was just Ethan, and it failed. Thinking of this, I smiled. Maybe you misremembered. There was nothing like that. In the following days, I lived alone, quite comfortably and freely. Mrs. Chen would occasionally come over to chat. Sometimes, mid-conversation, she'd pull me over to her son's apartment. Thanks to her efforts, Liam and I had more interactions, though it only amounted to us talking a bit more than before. That day, she dragged me over to watch a movie with her, a tear-jerking Korean romance. By the end, Mrs. Chen and I had cried through 2 packs of tissues over the magical love story of the protagonists. Liam, however, maintained a completely unperturbed expression. Mrs. Chen jokingly said he had no heart. He merely pointed out the logical flaws in the movie. She got so angry she scolded. Serves you right for being single? Then grabbed her bag and stormed off, leaving me still reeling from the emotions of the film. I looked around the living room. Now it was just Liam and me. On the large screen, the movie's ending was playing a scene of the lonely girl and boy in a room, and I was still crying, my eyes swollen. It really made one think strange things. Liam asked if I wanted to watch another movie. I said I was sleepy and needed to go home to bed. He replied, but then picked up the remote and put on a horror movie. If you watch this, you won't be sleepy anymore. I sat back down. For some reason, ever since I was a child, I've been fascinated by horror movies, a mix of fear and enjoyment. I intently watched the screen, my mind following the film's progression. Because I was so focused, when a messy, blood-soaked face suddenly appeared on screen, accompanied by a ghostly laugh, I flinched and shuddered. Are you scared? Liam calmly looked at me. I tried to sound tough. No. Then you won't mind if I turn up the volume, will you? I tried to persuade him. That'll disturb the neighbors. The soundproofing is good. 10 minutes later, I screamed. It was the first time that night, my scream cutting clearly through the eerie background music. I squeezed my eyes shut, curling up on the sofa as if the ghost on screen was rushing straight towards me. My heart pounded incessantly, and in my fear, I heard Liam's laughter again. I could even feel the rhythm of his chest vibrating as he laughed. The sound of the movie gradually softened, his laughter becoming clearer and clearer. "How long are you going to keep hugging me?" His voice, tinged with amusement, came from above me. I opened my eyes, slowly realizing I wasn't leaning against the sofa, but in his arms. I quickly sprang up, moving away. "Sorry, I got too scared just now." Liam chuckled, sounding a little smug. "Didn't you say you weren't scared?" I subtly cleared my throat, stood up, and prepared to leave. "I really am sleepy now. I'm going to sleep first. I can't watch this movie anymore." Who turns on a horror movie and sets the volume so high? He said a few seconds later. "If you're scared and can't sleep, just call me." Of course, I wouldn't call him, even if I was very scared, so I left my bedside lamp on all night. The result? The next morning, I went to work with 2 dark circles under my eyes that even concealer couldn't hide. What's more, I was scolded by my boss in the morning meeting for falling asleep. Today at work, I was utterly exhausted, constantly fighting off sleep. That is, until on my way home, Ava called with news. Ethan had been beaten up right downstairs from her company. The person who beat him was his current girlfriend's real boyfriend. In other words, Ethan was now the third wheel. Hearing this, I sobered up completely. That awful man getting beaten was truly something to celebrate. My personality is quite strange. Whether happy or sad, I like to drink to release my emotions. So I arranged to meet Ava at a bar. Since we had work tomorrow, we only had a few drinks. But I don't know if the Long Island iced tea had a delayed effect, but as soon as I got out of the car at the complex gate, I already felt a bit dizzy. Going up the elevator to my apartment, the dizziness intensified. I tried to use what little sobriety I had left to get to my door and unlock it, but I couldn't open it and instead triggered the alarm. I was about to try again when the door suddenly opened from the inside. Looking up through the hazy blur in my mind, I saw a face that looked very much like Liam's. The next morning, I was woken by my alarm. My head pounded like a sledgehammer, making me grimace in discomfort. I struggled to sit up and the bedroom door opened. "You're awake?" Liam stood at the door. I looked at him and asked, "Why are you here? This is my house." I looked around, stunned, then realized with horror that I was in Liam's bedroom on his bed. I looked down to check my clothes. Thankfully, they're still the same clothes from yesterday, but why was I sleeping at his place? I tried to remember, but my memory stopped at the alarm bell when I tried to open my door last night. Did I open the wrong door? "Since you're awake, come out and drink some hangover soup," Liam said, then turned and left. I slowly got out of bed and walked to the living room. On the dining table were 2 servings of breakfast and a bowl of hangover soup. Remembering my foolish actions last night, I murmured, "I'm so sorry, I troubled you last night." Liam replied curtly, signaling me to sit down and drink the soup. I sat opposite him, head bowed, sipping slowly. Suddenly, he asked, "You drank so much last night because of your ex-boyfriend?" I looked up at him, slowly nodding. You could say that. Actually, it's because I was too happy he got beaten up." Liam pursed his lips, still thinking about him. I was about to say no, but he cut me off coldly. "Never mind, consider that I didn't ask. It's got nothing to do with me anyway." After breakfast, I went home to shower and change, then rushed to the company. At lunch, Ava messaged, complaining that Liam's face all morning was even more unpleasant than the bottom of a toilet bowl. She wondered who had angered him. I completely empathized because he had been exactly the same when we had breakfast. I thought it was probably because I got drunk and invaded his bed last night, disturbing him. I definitely needed to find a proper opportunity to apologize. In the afternoon, Ava messaged again with new information. Ethan had been fired from the company. The reason was poor character, affecting the company's image. I never expected the consequences of this to be so serious, but it was entirely his own doing. That terrible man finally got his comeuppance. Of course, I was delighted, and my mood for the entire next week was especially good. However, during those few days, I didn't see Liam at all. Ava said he was on a business trip and probably wouldn't be back for another 10 days to half a month. I wasn't overly concerned, but occasionally, on my way to or from work, I'd unconsciously glance at his closed door. A week passed. On Friday afternoon after work, I stopped by the supermarket to buy groceries, then headed home. As I stepped out of the elevator, I saw a familiar figure standing in front of my door. My heart skipped a beat. Ethan, why is he here? How did he know I live here? I walked closer. Hearing my footsteps, Ethan turned around. Hey, you're home. I frowned. What are you doing here? He smiled. I came to see you. See me for what? Have you forgotten we broke up? He stepped closer, grabbing both my hands. Hey, I was wrong about everything before. I know I messed up. Can we start over? I couldn't understand how he could shamelessly say such things, doing what he did, and then have the nerve to ask for my forgiveness. I pulled my hands away, stepping back a few paces, my voice filled with annoyance. Aren't you disgusted? What gives you the confidence to think I'd forgive you? Ethan lunged forward again, gripping my wrists tightly and pulling me into a hug. Hey, I really know I was wrong. Can you forgive me this one time? I'll never hurt you again. Trapped in his tight embrace, I felt utterly disgusted. I struggled with all my might, and the bag of groceries in my hand fell to the ground. Ethan released me, but no matter how hard I tried, my strength couldn't overpower a man's. He still leaned close to my ear, whispering nauseating words of repentance. I was both helpless and desperate, only able to push him away and scream, "Get lost, I'll call the police." Hey, don't be like that. I'll treat you well from now on. Before he could finish, Ethan suddenly let out a yelp, and his entire body was shoved aside. In my panic, I was pulled into a warm embrace and then heard an angry voice above me. She told you to get lost, didn't you hear her? Ethan leaned against the wall to stand up, curling his lips into a sneer. Director Liam, you already fired me. Why are you still interfering in my personal business? Or do you want to be the third wheel too? Liam looked at him coldly, took out his phone, and dialed. Hello, is this building management? I'm the owner of apartment 2602, Building A, Block 12. There's a stray dog barking wildly at my door. It might be sick. Could you please come and deal with it immediately? Thank you. After saying that, he bent down, picked up the bag of groceries from the floor, and pulled me and his luggage inside. The door closed, and outside it was completely silent. Inside, too. We stood still in the entryway, both of us silent. The wind from the balcony blew, and my hair brushed against my face, tickling slightly. I reached up to tuck my hair behind my ear, then softly broke the quiet atmosphere. Thank you, Liam. Liam looked at me for a long moment, then slowly said, Do you want to date me? My whole body froze. What? He repeated each word, clearly and seriously. I still couldn't believe my ears, so I asked again, You like me? Yes, I like you, Liam affirmed, his gaze filled with intense emotion. Hey, I like you. I stood there as if turned to stone, my mind blank, my heart pounding wildly. It was too unexpected. Truly too unexpected. What should I say? What should I do now? You don't need to answer right away. I'll give you time to think. Liam put the grocery bag on the floor, bent down, and took out shoes from the cabinet. He took out 2 pairs, placing one in front of me. Stay here for a bit. Wait until he's gone, then go home. Mechanically, I put on the shoes and sat on the sofa. Liam handed me the remote, telling me to watch TV, while he went into the bathroom to shower. I randomly turned on an entertainment program, but my mind wasn't on it. Who could watch TV at a time like this? I stared blankly for a while. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. I went to the door and looked through the peephole, seeing the building management staff and a few security guards. They must have come about what just happened. I opened the door. Outside, Ethan was nowhere to be seen. I briefly explained the situation. The management staff apologized and promised it wouldn't happen again. After they left, I planned to go back to my own apartment. I turned into the living room to get my phone, just as Liam finished showering and walked out. He was only wearing black trousers, drying his hair while looking at me. A few drops of water still clung to his chiseled face. The droplets slid from his chin, over his chest, and down along his abs. Oh no, I suddenly remembered the night I mistook him for a thief. That day, I hadn't gotten a good look, but now that I did, this physique was truly magnificent. I swallowed hard, trying to stay calm. The management was just here. I'll head home now. Liam paused his hair drying, smiling faintly. Remember to think carefully. I picked up my phone and bag of groceries, then turned back to remind him, remember to put on more clothes. It's getting cold these days. Ever since his confession, Liam seemed to become a different person. Every day, he not only prepared breakfast for me, but also drove me to and from work. Occasionally, He would give me flowers and find ways to make different dishes for me. I knew he was pursuing me, and I gradually accepted everything naturally, because I realized I was genuinely happy when he did these things for me, completely unlike the uncomfortable feeling I had when Ethan pursued me before. It seemed I had fallen for him again, or perhaps I had never truly gotten over him. I had always liked him. So I turned an ordinary evening into an extraordinary night. I gave him the answer he was hoping for. I told him I wanted to be with him. However, the location for this confession was a bit of a mood killer, the elevator on our way home. Liam froze for a few seconds, saying nothing. The moment the elevator arrived, he immediately pulled me, swiftly ushering me to his apartment door and opening it. His actions were a little hurried, as if he was in a rush to do something. The door had barely opened before he pulled me inside. Before I could react, I was pressed against the door, his warm breath fanning over me, but stopping about an inch from my lips, full of restraint. His voice was husky as he asked, "Can I kiss you?" "Why even ask? Just do it. Is it not allowed?" I lifted my face, quickly brushed his lips with mine, then hurriedly lowered my head, not daring to look at him. I was sure my face was bright red at that moment, my ears burning. Liam chuckled softly, lifted my chin, and kissed me. The sounds were intimate and sweet. As this was my first kiss, I was completely inexperienced. Soon, I couldn't take it anymore and pushed him away, gasping for breath. But before I could fully recover, he leaned down and kissed me again. I don't know how long it lasted, but I eventually pushed him away again, complaining, "No more kissing. My tongue hurts. I don't know if you're kissing me or trying to bite me." Liam laughed and pulled me into his arms. "Then we'll kiss later. It's time for dinner now." He was still cooking dinner tonight. I offered to help, but he wouldn't let me, insisting I wait in the living room. Feeling bored, I was about to grab the remote to turn on the TV when I noticed a book under the coffee table. I picked it up. It was Love Letters by Y. Suji, my favorite book from high school. The book was old, its cover slightly yellowed. I gently opened it, and my pupils suddenly contracted. On the first page, in the bottom right corner, I saw a line of text. "Liam likes Chloe." My heart stopped for a second, then quickly pounded like a drum, feeling as if it would burst from my chest. Because I recognized the handwriting for Chloe in that confession as my own from back then. I used to write very freely, and I particularly liked to draw out the vertical stroke of the character for Hai, part of Chloe's name in Vietnamese, Hua Hai. This book was the exact one I had lost in 12th grade. So, could it be that Liam had liked me since then? After processing this huge amount of information, my first reaction was to secretly slip the book into my handbag. Dinner was quickly served. While eating, I casually asked, "When did you start liking me?" Liam paused for a moment, then replied, "Since high school." I hadn't expected him to be so straightforward. "Then, why didn't you confess to me back then?" "Because my dad had already arranged for me to go to Canada. Plus, I was afraid you didn't like me, so I chose to remain silent like a coward." I put down my chopsticks and bit my lip. "You think you're the only coward? What do you mean?" "Actually, in high school, I also had a secret crush on you. 6 years ago, when I called you, it wasn't because I lost a game and had to confess, but because I truly wanted to say that I liked you. But you stayed silent for so long, so I said it was because I lost a game." Liam stared at me, then burst out laughing, his voice a mix of helplessness and surprise. At that time, I wasn't fully awake. I thought I was dreaming. When I realized it wasn't a dream, I even considered checking flights back home to tell you in person, but then you said you were playing a game. He paused for a moment, then continued, "And you even said I was the person you hated most." I immediately refuted, "I never said that." I don't know who said it, but I distinctly heard that the loser would call and confess to the person they hated most. Back then, I even wondered what I did in high school to offend you, to become the person you hated most. "Just eat your food," I said, lowering my head and focusing on my meal, avoiding the topic. During that dinner, Liam couldn't stop smiling, probably 100 times. He was in a very good mood. In truth, I was very happy too. My high school crush liked me back. But at the same time, I also felt a little regretful that our mutual shyness had made us miss so many years. Nevertheless, luckily, we finally found our way to each other. Our relationship was quickly discovered by Mrs. Chen. On Saturday morning, she came to visit while Liam and I were having a very sweet breakfast. She didn't disturb us, just sat on the sofa watching us. I felt a little uncomfortable, so I quickly ate a few bites, then sat on the sofa to chat with her. Mrs. Chen was clearly thrilled, her face practically glowing with joy. By lunchtime, she urged Liam to go to the kitchen to cook. He didn't budge, lazily saying, "Mom, it's been so long since I've had your cooking. Why don't you make it today?" All right. Today, I'm happy to let my daughter-in-law taste my cooking skills." She stood up and went into the kitchen. In the living room, only Liam and I remained. "Have you finished looking?" he suddenly asked. "What, the book?" I flinched. Did he realize I took the book? I feigned ignorance. "What book? Love letters? What love letters? I don't know." Liam slowly moved closer, his warm breath fanning my ear. Then, "Do you want to check the camera in my living room?" If I could, I really would have played dead. But since things had come to this, I shamelessly argued back. "That book was originally mine. What's wrong with me taking my own book?" "What do you have to prove it's yours?" "My name is on it." Liam chuckled softly, lowering his voice. "But my name is on it too." His hot breath against my ear was both suggestive and intimate, my face uncontrollably flushed. Suddenly, Mrs. Chen's voice came from the kitchen. "Chloe, I forgot to ask, do you have any food preferences?" I looked up to see her trying to suppress a smile. "Sorry, you two, carry on." She pulled the kitchen door shut and returned to cooking. Clearly, we weren't doing anything, just sitting a bit close to each other, but being seen by her still made me feel awkward. I gently pushed Liam. "Mrs. Chen is here. Can you sit a little further away?" Not only did Liam not move back, he moved even closer, giving me a quick kiss on the cheek. I glared at him. "Liam." Liam reached out and lightly touched the spot he had just kissed, his voice deep. "That book, I deliberately took it before graduation, just thinking I absolutely had to have something of yours." I softly chided, "You're really a petty thief." "Thief or not, you're mine now anyway." I burst out laughing, stood up, and went home to get the book to bring it back to him. "The book can be yours too." Liam opened the first page, the corners of his lips curling up. Below the shy confession, he added a new line, "Liam likes Chloe. Chloe also likes Liam."